Black Avenger. Hello friend. I want to tell you my story. I was 17 years old at that time. And my mother and I decided to go to the country for the weekend. But I really did not want to part with my friends. After an hour of my whining, my mother still agreed to take my small company of 4 people. Their names were Oliver, Charlie, June and Harry. And then the appointed hour came. We met at the bus stop. Well, did you buy a beer? June asked. Of course, yes. What kind of night party without him? Oliver answered. Then our bus drove up and my mother ordered that we all take our bags and go in. Heat. I say, but I think to myself, I wish I could plunge into a cool river now, and swim on my brand new mattress. And so we finally arrived. While we were unpacking things, cooked dinner, and sat down to eat, it was already quite dark. My mother went to watch TV, and we remembered that we wanted to go to the river. Having warned our mother, we were already about to go, as noticed that one of them was missing. Charlie was missing. I probably sat down in the toilet. Harry said. Nope, he's not there, said June. I've just come from there. Where did he, your mother, disappeared? Send to look for, I ordered. Since this all started, we split up and went in different directions. Oliver was bolder and went along the path through pine forest to the canal. Harry went to the right, to the store. June and I went straight to the river. I can admit that I'm not a coward, but a complete skeptic. Nothing can scare me, but at that moment I was really scared. I even almost laid bricks. We go with June, laugh, come up with all sorts of jokes about Charlie, like, yes, he probably took the beer and ran away to the river, got drunk and sleeps under a tree. We go, we joke, and we hear that someone is walking along the forest, stomping and howling. I shone in the direction where the trampling came from, with my flashlight, flash from the camera, and horror bound us. We saw something that simply could not be. There in the forest there was something huge, dark, unnaturally thin, and not like a person. Without thinking twice, we ran as fast as we could. We ran and occasionally looking back, we heard how it howled. But for some reason it didn't run after us. We ran until they ran into Harry and Oliver. They, too, were scared. June asked why they were scared. Oliver stammeringly said that they heard a howl in the forest, and as if something huge was running in their direction, and they ran towards us. But there was one question, where is Charlie? And then we heard cries for help, the cries of our Charlie. And we decided, despite the horror and danger, to follow his screams. We went deep into the forest, walked for about 10 minutes, and stumbled upon an abandoned 2-story building. We hear June whispering something. We looked at her, and she points to the window on the 2nd floor. What was in the forest wandered there. It went back and forth, and turned sharply, looked at us and howled. We laid a dozen bricks, ran in different directions, and then again we heard Charlie scream. He came from the barn. We rushed to him, running inside. We stumbled upon huge barrels, carefully passing them. We finally found Charlie. He was tied by the hands to the pipe. Behind on the wall there were a huge number of hooks, knives and various sharp objects, obviously not for butchering a bird. Having untied Charlie, we slowly began to leave the building. Not seeing the monster, we rather ran home. As soon as we arrived, we began to ask Charlie in one voice, why the hell did he run away? But he said the following: I went out over the fence to call my brother, when suddenly something pushed me. I hit the side of the barrel very hard, and lost consciousness. When I woke up, I didn't understand where I was, and then IT entered, black, tall and with long arms, like tentacles. I turned off again. When I woke up, he was no longer there, but I was tied and I began to yell and call for help, but when I screamed it howled. And then you came. For a long time we still heard this howl, and decided not to tell anyone anything. They just won't believe it. In the morning, my mother cooked pancakes and asked how we had a rest. I said that everything was fine and that until the morning we sat at the barbecue and told jokes to each other. After breakfast, we went to the river and stumbled upon the watchman of the cottages. He asked us for a lighter. Charlie gave him a light, and then the watchman asked a strange question for us. How did we sleep? He says, yes, no guys, This is not a dog, this is a black Avenger. There is a building in the forest, it was built during the war, there was an air hospital. And once a German pilot flew over him and bombed him, people died. And he himself disappeared, neither the plane nor the pilot was found, and there is a legend that this monster is the pilot whose plane was called Black Avenger in Russian. It is dangerous to walk here at night, especially on a full moon, it then climbs out. He is waiting for a Russian person to pass and drags him to his building. Many times they found corpses there, but they thought it was just murders, but they did not find any evidence. We didn't go for walks at night anymore and soon sold the cottage, for other reasons.
Thank you for your attention. Subscribe to the channel.